Have you come to a point where either your career is taking a major shift, either due to a change in genre, or you've just gone in a different direction, or maybe you just need to take on other band members or take on less band members and change the name and go a new direction? Well, all of this is under the umbrella of rebranding. And maybe it's time we had to think on that. Wait. I think we are due for one too. Roll the new image. Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. So happy to have you. And we have a huge change just happening today and a great episode to go along with that. So today, let's address the elephant in the room. Why do we have a different name? Do we have a different logo? Do we have different websites? Do we have everything else has changed? So let's address it. We have always been known as 145 Rural since the day that we launched this project. And we are very proud of everything we've accomplished and so happy with what we've done, the community that we have built to this point. And we only want to look forward and grow. And the only way to do that is sometimes to just shed the skin you're in and take on a new form. And that's kind of the position we have reached. The original name 145 Rural was really designed around the idea of reaching out to people in smaller communities, smaller areas that are all about songwriting and growing as a musician. And as we've done this for now a year and a half, we have over 260 episodes on our channel at this point. We have been able to connect with musicians on a different level, and we've really found our own niche as to taking musicians that are hitting a wall, finding those dead spots in a career, those things that you just don't know how to overcome that can cause anything you're doing to come to complete stop. You know, sometimes you just don't want to do this anymore. You don't know why. You'll put your guitar down, you'll put your microphone down, you'll stop writing, and then you'll pick it up again, you know, years down the road when you have the time, or you just feel that longing, something's missing in your soul, you come back to it. We want to get rid of those times and be able to help musicians grow and get past those in a timely, efficient manner so that it's always growth. It's always expressing yourself in new ways. It's always taking on new projects and new ideas, striving for new goals, because momentum is everything. Hence the new name, Musicians Momentum. Nothing could be more important than momentum in all of this. Keeping that going, learning, applying yourself in the right ways, building an infrastructure around it, with all these huge things that are just momentous to take on and can be so daunting. We're going to focus on those, keep doing what we're doing, give you all the free things we do, all the checklists, all those things, and just keep building our community, but hopefully just be a little more broad to help all the people that have reached out to us and said this is helping them. It's just a little more inclusive. So really happy about that. That's why the change, but hence that led to this video, because this is something that we all go through. I've done a number of times as a musician myself, either being a solo musician, moving into having a full band, or doing a different genre. This is something that just comes up from time to time, and it's kind of daunting, and you can really get lost. So that's what we're going to step in today. And first thing I want to talk about, what is rebranding? And the whole idea behind this is just to differentiate. If you're considering this, you've gotten to that point, you need to consider, am I going to just scratch everything and just take everything on and just redo everything? You got redo over here. Or am I going to adapt what I have, mix it up a bit, put some new imagery on it, put a shiny coat on it, and go to the rebranding route? And the important thing is that if you decide that you have enough to keep and there's enough to salvage there, that you need to go the rebranding route, that's the way you go. But if you just want to start fresh and clean, that's great. Go the redo route. That's completely fine. You just start over and do everything you've done to this point. There's lots of things on this channel to help you get to that point and build up your new brand and your new image and all that. But let's say, just for the hypothetical, you're watching this because you just want to make a couple changes to put out a new image, a new thing, a new name, a new everything, and just move forward with what you have, but just in a different outlook and a different cover going forward. So rebranding is all about just taking those things that you have, keeping them, but redirecting the focus, the mission, really giving those goals and what you stand for, or accentuating the values of what you now are taking on, whatever that may be. And we'll discuss that going forward. But that's kind of what a rebrand is. You're just putting a new paint of color, a new color of paint on everything. You're just retouching up everything. Some great times to rebrand, again, as we're going into that, are one, if you have taken on more members or maybe lost band members. Either of those can be big times where you had a co-ownership of a name, a concept, something like that. It's a great time to rebrand and refocus and give it a new shiny exterior, something for everybody to look at, and define it as yourself or the remaining band members or the new band members. That's a great time to do a rebranding. You're still keeping all the old music in the past. You're still keeping all the old things you've done. You're still building upon those accomplishments that you've done as a musician or as a group or not as a group. But you're not losing any of that. You're just refocusing. So that's a great time if you've added or lost members. Another time to rebrand as a musician is if your music tastes or your writing has taken a change in genres. And we're talking about substantive change. Everybody has a whole palette of their own musical taste and what they accomplish, what they like to write under. You could have ballads, you could have heavy rock anthems, you can have all these other things. But if you've taken a shift, say from, doing R&B music or EDM, and now you're shifting into more instrumental based stuff, or, rock, or you've gone blues or whatever it is, that's a great time to rebrand and do a whole new beautiful coat on yourself, do a whole new dress up for what you're doing and to present to new fans, a new fan base, to grow in other people, to make sure it's more attractive to those that you're trying to reach out to, and really to make a statement of, hey, I've changed. It's clear. Here's what it looks like now. Here's why we did it, and then you go from there. Those are two of the best reasons for rebranding. There's other ones as well. They're so minor, but if you come to that point where it's just, and the third one that I'll just really quickly touch upon is that you just need a change, and this is sometimes really good for any group or band or solo artist that has put out like 2 or 3 under the same fonts, the same color schemes, that has the same theming, all those kind of things. Sometimes it's great to just redo your entire image and move forward from there and try that for a while. Just you need a change of pace is an okay reason to do a rebranding. So 3 really good reasons when to, and why to do a rebrand. So we talked about what a rebrand is. We've talked about when and why to do it. Last but not least is how to do a rebrand. And as a musician, as anybody else, clearly we've gone through this ourselves as a channel, as a community. We have rebranded, and it can be a bit daunting. And to be honest, I found myself lost a bit, having to seek help. There were things that would fall through the cracks that I couldn't quite get to, and that had to be done at a certain point. And I found myself, this is a great concept for a video to share with everybody, but it's also a great concept for those things that we love to do here. Make you a quick checklist that you can download at our Patreon. It's linked below. It's free, no email, no money. Just go grab it, and you can use that as your guide, as your light to follow. And with this checklist, you're able to go through and change everything you need to do and make sure nothing slips through the cracks and you don't lose anything. And honestly, I just had this, a couple months ago when we decided to do this. We hit episode 75 for our full episodes, and we knew that it was a great time. We knew we'd done enough. We knew we'd kind of defined what we want to do. Let's make everything else reflect around that. And I really wish I had this. So please go grab that. The last thing we're going to do here is just walk through the 7 quick steps that are on here. They all have subsections, things to go through, but just a quick overview so that we can talk about that. Make sure you don't miss anything as we're going forward. So let's talk about that. The first thing on our rebranding checklist for musicians is to define your new brand and your new identity. And that's where we'll be talking about, you really need to define what your vision is going forward. You need to sit down and write down or come up with the concept of why you're doing this rebrand. What is the exact reason that you're doing this? Just an example, since we're here, since we're doing this, just the beginning where we said we started out as 145 and we were reaching out to the smaller communities that are left out, that might not have access to all the knowledge and the other musicians to work off. We wanted to give those people the same kind of thing, but it morphed into this new thing where we were reaching this community that musicians were hitting a spot where they couldn't move on any further, and we wanted to make that tool, that resource where they could reach out and say, I'm hitting a wall, let's see what I can do to take advantage of this, or how can I do it better in the future? How can I do it more efficiently? Maybe there's a checklist, maybe there's some kind of diagram. That's what we do here. We make things easier, faster, and more effective. And really, we needed to redefine what we looked like doing that and what it was called, so it reached that broader audience, and so we could build a bigger community to help more and more people. So that's just an example. Use something like that to define how you're going to go forward. Make sure you have it written down. Start to define why you're doing it, how you're going to achieve the new things, what's going to change, what's not going to change, all those things. Have that vision defined and have it clear. It's a great time to write down your target audience, who you're trying to reach out to. Have that written down so it makes it defining it easier. Who are you trying to reach out to? What are you trying to include as a bigger fan base, as a bigger audience, as different listeners? Define those. Make sure that's all done, and make sure you establish a core message as what you're going to be as a group going forward. What are you going to stand for? What are you going to try to get across? What is your music going to mean? All those kind of things. It seems like a lot and very daunting, but I promise you, if you take these steps, everything you pull from going forward, and you need to use that to define, how do I write this description? How do I write this article, or how do I convey this to my fan base? What do I do? You'll pull right from this instantly, and you'll know exactly how to use it. So it's a huge step, but take your time on this one. Make it as crystal clear as you can, and everything else will be so much easier. Second part of this is to design your visuals. Now, this is one of the things that's just going to take you a little bit of time. Make sure that since you have defined your core values, your vision, just create artwork around that. One that you aesthetically love and it draws to you personally, but then make sure that it also reflects the values that you've defined, the goals you define. Make sure it is appealing to the group that you're trying to attract, the fan base. Make sure that resonates with them first and foremost. And then start designing your artwork from there. You're going to want a new logo. You're going to want a new brand. And sometimes they're the same thing. You can feel like they're the same thing, but they're not exactly. But you can go through different videos, different, look up what's the difference. But just make sure that you have the artwork. If it needs to be a quick, just the letters or something that just represents instantly, this is who we are. You can see it and know that's what we're talking about. And then you can also have a more defined with the words of what it is. You can include your vision or some kind of slogan beneath that. That's kind of the main difference that I take away from this as, a logo versus, your brand, that kind of thing. But have something for both. Make sure there's a defined color scheme is always nice to have. Make sure you have that where like these colors are what we use, and when people see them and instantly, that's what you're talking about. There's so many great examples out there, but when you see Pepsi, you know that it's going to be red, white, and blue. You see Coke, it's going to be red and white. Those are just two great examples of just having a color scheme makes you know what you're talking about and what we're getting into. So something to take on. Another one is typography, or like your fonts. Make sure your fonts are consistent, that you're using them across the board. Consistency becomes the key as we move on here. And just make sure that you have all of the things that you either need, like any kind of artwork, like banners or graphics like that. So you're going to be putting out new YouTube stuff. You're going to be doing new Instagram things. You're going to be doing socials. You're going to be doing a new website. Just make sure you have enough stuff to work with and how to create it, and make sure you have all that, versions of them all in one folder, ready to go as you get your new press kits all together, everything like that. Have it defined in one place. Get all your artwork and your visuals together. Number 3, update your online presence. So you've done all the work with the defining everything. You have your vision, you have your goals, you have who you're trying to reach out to, you have your outline of your fan base you're reaching out to, you have all the visuals that go along with that. Now comes just the minorly tedious tasks of going through and changing everything and rearranging. You might not, you had to buy a new online domain, all those kind of things. You're changing out the domains, you're changing out your links, you're changing out the imagery on all your socials, you're changing out all those things. And that's why this list is super useful for that, just to go through and make sure that you've taken care of all the things that maybe you haven't thought about, or that can really just, this is that slip through the crack thing. That's what's here, just to make sure you go through and take care of all of those little steps to make sure that everything that needs changed gets taken care of. Number 4 is announce your rebrand. And for us, we can use ourselves as an example. All we've done is really simply just teased a bit for a week ahead of time. We put out little reels here and there on our socials, just saying change is coming, big news is on the horizon, gave a date about a week away, and that's it. And then bam, here we are. This video's out. Everything as of now has changed. You can take as much time or as little time as you need, but it doesn't need to be a big thing. You just to make sure that you are announcing it, putting it out there, and it's a great chance for you to make some content defining and telling people why you made these changes, and to define to them, hey, here's what we're doing. Maybe you're part of this group. You can come with us. Tell your friends, we're building this new community. We're building this new fan base. We're making this new sound. Join us. Come on in. That kind of thing. Just make sure that you take advantage of this. If you have an email list, maybe you're not to that point in your career. Maybe you are. But if you have an email list, make sure you're just blasting them and letting them know, here's the change that's coming. Here's the change. Here's the new address that we're going to be using. Any of those kind of things. And of course, the worst part is updating any printed material. If you have any banners that you use for live shows, any business cards, any of that kind of stuff needs updated. So it's usually the last thing to get done, but it needs to be done. So we've talked about the announcing your rebrand. The next step is to rebrand your music releases. And this is just if you need to go back and change the name on your stuff, wherever you're streaming, wherever all that kind of stuff is, you just go back to whoever your distribution is. Change the name if you need to. If the name of the group is changed, change that. If you want to update the logo for the band, do that. You're not going to change the artwork on your old work. It is what it is, and you should be proud of what you've accomplished. If there's old stuff in your discography, keep that. But just update what needs updated in your catalog and all of that stuff. And update, of course, your bios on everything. Make sure that it's got a new story. Make sure that it's including what your vision is. Like I said, since you wrote everything out in that first step, you're just taking that, working it into your new bio, update all those too. So the next part in this, number 6 on the checklist, is just stay consistent. It's a big step, but it's not something you really have to be mindful of. Just make sure that when you are going forward, that you're mindful of everything we've just talked about, so that you're not going, it's just the 101, the bare minimum of creating a brand is just to stay consistent with it and build it from the inside out. If you're adding to it, that's fine, but stepping too far out of it can break a brand. So just make sure that you're staying in those confines, you're working with it, and you're being open and communicative with those who follow you, your fan base, anything like that. But just be consistent with everything. That means imagery, that means fonts, that means down to the tiniest little detail. Stay consistent. The last one on here is reflect and refine, and this one's just keeping your ears open, keeping your eyes open. If fans start to say that I like this, but I don't like this, or it's a consistent thing of this is great, but I like this part better, or I was more drawn to this, don't make changes just based on one or two things. But if you start to see some kind of consistency where they're saying, this doesn't work for me for so-and-so, and they happen to fall under the group that you're trying to reach, or the fan base you're trying to grow, or the community you're trying to build, just address it as needed. Maybe you need to do some touch-ups, readdress the messaging, or a little bit of the artwork needs some tweaking. Just be open to changing things as you're doing this change. You can't be, this is what we are going forward, no matter what, but just be open to adjusting as you need to. Just monitor feedback, obviously, and take time with whatever you're doing, for the next month, for the next 6 months. Just celebrate the change, celebrate your new brand, be happy with what you did, show it off, make t-shirts, make mugs, do whatever you can. Take the time to be proud of it and show it off. So those are the 7 steps we've included on how to do a rebrand. Again, super useful. I wish I had this a month ago when we made this decision, but now you have it. It's free. Please go use it. I just want to take a second. If any of this has helped you and you can use any of this, please give us a subscribe, give us a like. We're growing this community. We're moving forward. It's so helpful. So if you can just take that little time to give us that little help, that little boost up, we appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. You're amazing. And of course, we're going to have a ton more content like this going forward of how to get over those hurdles. And we're going to have, gear reviews. We're going to have all those kind of things that are helpful to musicians, artists, all those kind of things. So again, going forward, thank you guys so much. Happy to be Musicians Momentum. And if you're part of this community, happy to have you with us. So until the next one, we'll see you then. Bye.